Order of the day number 2.
Parental Leave and Employment Protection 6 months paid leave amendment bill, second reading.
Speaker.
Do you have authority to speak on behalf of Sue Moroney?
Yes, I do.
I call on Carol Beaumont.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a really important...
No, you must move the motion.
Oh, sorry.
You can't start the debate without moving the motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the Parental Leave and Employment Protection 6 months paid leave amendment bill be read a second time. Mr. Speaker,
Carol Beaumont.
This is a very important bill. Mr. Speaker, this is a bill that has been waiting some time to receive its second reading, and that is a shame. It is a shame that we have had to wait so long to get to this point. But I am delighted to stand here and acknowledge my colleague, Sue Moroney, who will be speaking on this bill, and acknowledge her for the work that she has put into this very important piece of legislation and the work that has gone on in the community to support this legislation. This is a bill that is about our children. This is a bill that is about our families. This is a bill that is widely supported in the community. This is a bill that New Zealanders want. And, Mr. Speaker, this House should deliver on that bill. So, Mr. Speaker, children and families are at the heart of Labour's thinking. And my colleague Sue Moroney put this bill in the ballot because New Zealand has not dealt well with the issue of paid parental leave of recent times.
Order. I'm sorry to interrupt the member. The member whose name is Bill cannot be in the House when it's her bill. She must leave. You can come back. You can come back after, but you cannot be in here when the bill's in your name and you weren't here to lead off and to move it. Carol Beaumont.
Thank you. As I was saying, Mr. Speaker, this bill has the matters in this bill, paid parental leave, have not been progressed in the way that they should, which is why my colleague Sue Moroney put this bill into the ballot and has worked so hard on it. Mr. Speaker, under the former Labour government, paid parental leave was introduced. And in 2002, extended in 2004 and 2007. But where we sit at the moment with 14 weeks paid parental leave is inadequate, Mr. Speaker. It is inadequate to meet the needs of modern families. The reality is that in this country now, in most families, there is a need to ensure that there is income from more than one source to meet the family's needs. And often, Mr. Speaker, women particularly who have their children are going back to work before they might like to, before the very important bonding with a young baby, before the very important breastfeeding has been established and continued on for an adequate period of time, purely and simply because of financial reasons. And, Mr. Speaker, none of us, I believe, in this House should think that that is appropriate. What we want as a country is to ensure that every child gets the best possible start, that every baby is able to be born and to be loved and to be looked after and to bond with their parents and their family, to be breastfed where at all possible, and to really have that start in life. And this is what paid parental leave enables us to have. It provides women with choice. Many women, as I've already said, go back to work before they would like to because of financial reasons. This helps, but 14 weeks is insufficient, and New Zealand is lagging behind other OECD countries in relation to parental leave. And in fact, I think we're second to bottom in that group of developed countries with the amount that we currently provide. So this bill, providing for 6 months, is very, very important. And the way that it has been put into place or suggested is to be staggered in over a period of 3 years to ensure that we are being fiscally responsible in how we do this, but to give a very clear message that we will move from 14 weeks to 26 weeks over that three-year period. Now, it's interesting to me, and I spoke on this a lot immediately after the budget, that we saw National make a move in this direction, but not going nearly far enough. And the cynic in me says that that was purely and simply in response to the head of steam that's been built up around this bill, around a bill that makes a real change and a real improvement to our families. A head of steam that means that out there in the community, people have strongly supported the 6 months paid parental leave bill. And so in the budget, we got a pale imitation. Paid parental leave extended, and we voted for it because it is an improvement, and because National has obviously finally realised that paid parental leave is important, it is a reality and a need. But we get 2 weeks next year and 2 weeks the year after to 18 weeks paid parental leave, and the possibility of an extension to a broader group of people. This talks about 26 weeks, 6 months, and that 6 months is vital. The World Health Organization has long argued that where possible, exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months is important to giving children the best start, to ensure that their immune system is well developed. It assists with the bonding process, and it is very, very difficult indeed for those women who manage to continue breastfeeding while they are back in the paid workforce. And I want to acknowledge all of those women, in fact, who do that, who go to quite heroic lengths to ensure that, because it is so much better for our children. I want to also say, as Labour's Women's Affairs spokesperson, that an issue like paid parental leave is very good for women. It is really important for women because the reality is now that more and more women do want to and do need to manage to balance both their family responsibilities and their responsibilities in the paid workforce. And so having something like paid parental leave provides a real choice and a real opportunity to have time away, but to have time in a reasonable level that means they can have that real bonding going on, but they know they can go back to their workforce, they maintain that attachment to their workplace, I should say, and it really does assist. And lots of women at the moment end up in situations where they do not contain and maintain that link with the workplace they're in when they take leave, because the 14 weeks currently provided is inadequate. The unpaid leave of 52 weeks is not sustainable financially, and so you get people making decisions based on that. And so I want to again note that we could have already passed this bill, but there has been filibustering by members opposite to stop us doing that. Why is that? Well, the reason why that is because there is support in this House for this bill. Mr. Speaker, the majority of members of Parliament in this House support this bill. And that's because it is the right thing to do. It is because there is the demand in the community. 99.6% of submitters to this bill submitted in favour. And so I'm standing here urging members of Parliament in this House to do the right thing, because what we understand is the risk is that the majority of members of Parliament will support this bill, but that the government will veto it. But the government has a choice here. National has a choice, and that is to do the right thing, to extend this bill, and to do it because it is affordable, that it's been structured in such a way to be fiscally responsible while meeting a very real need. And the Select Committee has done some very good work on the costings to show that, in fact, and I understand the Select Committee has worked very effectively together to do that work, to look at the policy implications, to look at the costings, and to say that actually for the cost, the benefits of this, of investing in this way, far outweigh the costs. And so I urge members opposite to consider that and to think about voting in favour and certainly to not veto this bill. So on behalf of the families of this country, the people who support this, I say support Sue Moroney's bill. Certainly Labor strongly supports this bill, and I look forward to hearing the debate in this House tonight on the second reading of the Parental Leave and Employment Protection 6 months paid leave amendment bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. The question is that the motion...
Speaker?
I call... Order. Jamie Lee Ross.
Mr. Speaker, you started the vote.
No,
Mr. Speaker, you were about.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I'm accepting a call, and I'm calling Jacinda Ardern.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my pleasure to speak on this bill.